cut. Good evening, Ben from forestandthesea here. Just another installment of our video series. Tonight I'm going to be talking about some drum setups, some things to consider when playing, and also drum rudiments. So drum rudiments are just figures, different patterns that should be in every drummer or percussionist vocabulary. They're figures that you can combine together that really help expand ideas and also open up a lot of possibilities for playing. So they're like a huge foundation of what drummers and percussionists do, and I think they're extremely important. Actually, up through high school, my big thing was rudimental drumming. I was in the marching band. I was very involved in that. That was like my thing. I loved rudimental snare drum playing, and when I got to college, I still did that, but then I was exposed to an orchestral side, jazz combos, big bands, things like that. So I started playing a lot of different things, and I became a little bit more well-rounded, but I'm very thankful for the mechanics and everything that rudimental drumming laid a foundation for. With all of those, it really helped out, whether it was mallet percussion, playing bossa nova grooves, anything. I mean, it helped me immensely, and I'm very thankful for that foundation. So we'll start talking about some rudiments that's going to apply to drum set. I'm going to put a link in the bottom for a Percussive Art Society PDF. It is 40 rudiments, sort of expanded from 26, which is going to be like the standard 26 rudiments according to the National Association of Rudimental Drummers, and it went to 40 with some drum course, things like that. So it later expanded. There's different variations. There's like flams, which is going to be a grace note and the actual note, so like something like that. So those would be flams. They have rolls. They have diddle variations. When I say diddle, it's a double stroke. So for instance, a paradiddle would be right, left, or left, right, left, left. There's double paradiddles, triple paradiddles, all that good stuff, and then they sort of blend together, sort of with that same thing with a double stroke. So there are flam taps, stuff like things like that. So there's a number of different things that I would highly recommend looking into, trying out, that are going to help you with your playing, and really great exercises too. I'll just put music on, and I'll just say, all right, I'm going to play flam taps until I get to the chorus. Then I'm going to go to Paradiddle Diddles, things like that. And one thing that's cool is that not all of them are going to be contained in one beat or two beats. It's not always going to line up that way. Paradiddle Diddles are one that was like, it's like a dotted quarter note, 1.5 beats if you're in 4/4 time or 3/4. So it's really neat because you can sort of play along with it and see how it lines up with like standard song forms, like maybe 8-bar phrases, things like that. So you can see how you can work it out to phrase things a little bit better, or if maybe you're using a fill, that will make you more comfortable knowing how long that figure will last, things like that. Another thing that helps me, not only just rudiments, is going to be this book, Developing Dexterity. It's by Mitchell Peters. I touched on it before. It's really to even out your hands and make you feel comfortable leading with your right hand, your left hand, things like that, and playing different stickings and making those sound great. Play some of the same fills in a number of different ways. See what works best. Alright, so we talked about some paradiddles, things like that. I use those so much in playing, whether it's from like hi-hat and snare, ride and snare patterns, tom beats, even drum fills. I like to think as of paradiddles or double strokes in general as ways of really being able to navigate through the drum set easily. Sometimes you'll hear, like, there's a lot of players that do paradiddle grooves. It's really easy, like the part sounds really cool, but in reality they're playing paradiddles, paradiddle diddles, things like that, and it's one of the building blocks of drumming, and it still works very well. You can move accents around with them pretty easily to make a really cool sound. Young the Giant's first album, there's a lot of stuff going on with that, so if you're looking for examples, I would start there. Really great sound, and yeah, another thing I use paradiddles for, or paradiddle diddles, any of that, is going to be almost like as an escape rope or a way of finding easier ways to play things. So if I have a descending fill and I have to come over here, for one, if I'm doing a right-handed lead, I could do a double right instead of right-left at the end and have that left hand free for maybe a snare hit or something like that if I'm not doing a crash, things like that. So there's ways to not sort of get tied up. Again, with mallet percussion, you can use them like that. Say if you have a glockenspiel or orchestral bells, xylophone, anything a little bit smaller, you can really get tied up easily. If you're playing, rather than having a crossover like this, you can do a double right and have that note down there. So say you're making a leap down in the register, that's going to help as well. So I'm constantly thinking, is this the best way I can play something? That doesn't mean, am I practicing enough? Does it sound great? I mean, obviously I want it to sound great, but sounding great means exploring different options. So maybe I do doubles, or maybe I don't like the articulation of a double and I just really practice on hand speed and I can get those singles burning a little bit faster. There's a number of different options. I'm always looking at how I'm playing things. Is there a better way? Is there an easier way without sacrificing sound? I'm always thinking that, both with my setup and with my playing. Am I making things harder for myself? Good rule of thumb with drums, if it doesn't feel right, or if something feels uncomfortable, maybe with your drum setup or with how you're playing something, then you should probably explore other options. Through time, I'm sure a lot of drummers have, they've changed their drum setup immensely, and I do the same thing with my playing. At the end of the day, if you can get the job done in an easier way and it sounds just as good, then you should definitely do that. That's a no-brainer to me. We have that link in the bottom, so check that out. If you have any questions, let me know. Some favorite rudiments of mine: flam taps are great, paradiddle diddles are great. I really love doing the 2 single notes on the tom, and then the 2 doubles, right, right, left, left, on the snare. I love doing those. That makes for a really cool feel, especially if you pair the bass drum with the first accent. You can really get those cooking pretty quickly for a nice fill, especially moving down the tom, so you could do those are some cool things you can do. Those are 2 big ones I use. Flams are always great with the snare, or if you're doing flam paradiddles with the rack tom with the grace note on the snare. That's a cool sound. I use those a lot in drum set, and I'm always trying to explore more. So yeah, leave a comment, let me know some of your favorite rudiments, or if you have any questions about the video. Thanks a lot, have a nice day.